So thank you very much, Nicola. So I'm going to speak about actually a master's thesis of my student, and she looked at the possibilities how Agentic AI is actually transforming decision-making processes in the organization. So it's nothing about LLMs, it's more about how to deal with the structural and organizational and procedural transformation which Agentic AI is actually bringing with itself. So why does it matter now? We know that we have a lot of data, we have increasing speed of market change regarding to be competitive, to be present at the market, also in the global market space. We know that we have a fast-paced also industry which is developing very fast, also different kinds of technologies. So we have also a lot of cognitive constraints, biases, and as well silos which are existing in our architecture, engineering, and construction industry, as we all know. So there is a report which was done by the Royal International Charter of Surveyors. It was a global survey where actually they have concluded that AI is still very limited in its adoption. And just to give you like a frame or a definition, what is Agentic AI? It's actually a new generation of AI that automates tasks, pursues goals independently, makes decisions, and proactively interacts with its environment. So we have the following research question regarding this whole topic, which is how is Agentic AI integrated into organizational systems to optimize decision-making processes, and what impact does this integration have on the internal structure. So we had a two-step research design. We looked, of course, at literature regarding this question, and I must honestly say there's not much literature now still, of course, which is logical because it's, let's say, a new topic in a way. So we try to find out what's the status quo on Agentic AI, decision-making theory, and organizational structures in regards to digital technologies. And then, of course, in order to, let's say, qualitatively explore this subject, we have expert interviews with 7 experts. So the theoretical foundation is actually bounded rationality, which means we have decision makers who always or usually try to find satisfactory rather than optimal solutions when they have, let's say, not many information or incomplete information, whereas also time pressure and bounded cognitive capacity, which means actually the decision levels vary depending on the complexity of data and how much data is actually certain or uncertain. And then it leads again to the question, if you have an automation which is, of course, connected to Agentic AI, then the question becomes how much of this information is actually codifiable or actually possible to write into a contract. And in that context, you can distinguish between so-called specific decision rights which can be applied to codifiable processes, which mean processes which are transparent and easy to define in code. And then you have on the other side residual decision rights, which remain in uncertain and complex situation where actually only the human being can decide what will happen. So just to give you a quick overview, I guess everybody knows it already, but there needs to be a distinction, of course, between these different aspects. What is an AI agent? What is Agentic AI? What is a generative agent? So as you can see, the capabilities are different. You have the task execution with the AI agent. You have autonomous goal setting with the Agentic AI. And then you have the generative agents who actually generates content. And with the AI agent, you have single step, planning horizons, Agentic AI multi-step, and then generative agent regarding to content. Then you have different kind of learning mechanisms, rule-based, reinforcement, large scale, and so on. So there needs to be this distinction. We need to also know that because sometimes I hear like synonymous meanings in AI agent and Agentic AI, which is actually not the case. So Agentic AI is distinguished by autonomous, multi-step goal pursuit and proactive interaction with its environment. To give you a small example, for example, as you see here, you have maybe an AI agent regarding the monitoring of temperature in a certain setting, and you can see the AI agent is actually only setting the temperature and monitoring a certain level of temperature, like, for example, in the air conditioning space. But the Agentic AI is actually communicating with several different agents, which means it's like an overarching, let's say, entity trying to coordinate different agents here in this setting of maybe a smart house. So the methodology we applied was qualitative exploratory research. We had 7 expert interviews. These interviews were coded in several cycles. And just to give you an overview, these were not experts from the architecture, engineering, construction industry, but from the company SAP. Probably everybody knows this company, because simply there are still not really so many experts in the area of Agentic AI in regards to architecture, engineering, and construction. So what are the findings? The findings are that Agentic AI is currently being implemented primarily as an intelligent assistant that supports, accelerates, and partially automates decision-making processes without completely delegating control, which means standardized codifiable decisions are increasingly made automatically by these agents, but still you have the human in the loop, which is responsible for actually sensitive areas or sensitive decisions and sensitive context, which means in this context of what is non-codifiable, what I cannot transfer to another human being, or what is tacit knowledge, cannot be simply codified yet and cannot be done by Agentic AI, which means it's simply like now more of assistant in a way. So the second finding was what would be like the stages for the inclusion of Agentic AI. We have new roles emerging in that context. We have agent architects, governance leads, prompt designers, and agent orchestrators, which means in the pilot stage we have, which we are probably now, we have awareness and selective automation, where we have some codifiable tasks which can be given to Agentic AI, which means, for example, invoice classification, routine scheduling, and so on. Then the next step would be like hybrid orchestration, and then optimized autonomy, where we have this collaboration between the agent or Agentic AI and the human being. So the implications for our industry would be, for example, where Agentic AI can help autonomously validate BIM models in real time, detect and resolve clashes, monitor project tasks, or the risks via digital twins and sensor data, and optimize resource allocation across supply chains. So which means it has the potential to accelerate the shift towards true human AI collaboration in the built environment. So to conclude, of course, I mean, this research has limitations. As I mentioned, only 7 interviews were conducted with the SAP ecosystem, but because they're actively using now Agentic AI, of course, also the limitation regarding the countries, it's only concerning Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Theoretical contribution would be just to think about decision-making processes if we are including such systems, because they are definitely changing the whole value chain and decision-making processes. Then the practical contribution is that we tried empirically to derive conclusions regarding AI integration, and future research should, of course, validate these findings with longitudinal studies or specific architecture, engineering, construction work. So, thank you.